There's so much drama going on right now.
Girl, she already done had her.
Before we get into this video, I just quickly glanced over the video that James made with Nikita. It was titled Talking About Our Ex-Boyfriends with James Charles, and I looked at the tags, and I've seen something a little bit suspect. Considering this video added to this whole entire narrative in this situation, she tagged drama, scandal, tea, and that kind of stuck out to me. I didn't realize this before. I don't understand why. You know, I'm like the tag queen. I usually do that for you to see what these people are tagging their videos, because there can be some hidden tea in there, and I definitely think this could factor into that. You guys let me know what you think about that down below. And here's the rest of the video. Hey, what is up all my social climbing friends? It's Dustin and I'm back with another video. I know I said that I wasn't going to report on this James Charles situation with Gage anymore. However, Tana Mongeau actually did something that caused James to actually make a statement publicly on Twitter. I have that, as well as some other tweets in response to James, some DMs, and some things like that I want to discuss in this video. If you are not up to speed and you want to follow this James drama, I did cover the leaked text messages between Gage and James Charles. I will be linking my previous video in the description box of this one for you to catch up. I will disclaim that that is a very long video. Only watch that if you have time, but if you want the most current drama, just stay tuned to this video and let's just get right into it. So Gage actually tweeted out a DM between him and Tana yesterday and said, "Sociopathic tendencies? Come on now, Tana Mongeau. Me and James are in contact right now, handling this as mature adults. No need to be in my DMs." And he actually put a screenshot of the DM between him and Tana, where Tana actually said, "It's very sad to see that you're prioritizing being out right now while you're literally ruining someone's reputation for no reason. So sad." Gage replied to her and said, "Unfortunately, I'm already out and would like a clear mind while talking to you. I know you may be unhappy with my decision. Hopefully you understand." And this is where it gets a little bit shady on Tana's part. Tana actually wrote him back and said, "Appreciate that, but I don't really think this direction has much to do with you and I. I feel like by assessing the situation from an outside perspective, I can tell that you possess sociopathic tendencies. I have a lack of emotion because anyone with an amount of emotion will not be able to do this to someone and feel okay." Now, if you did watch my previous video on this, you would know that I think it's 50-50. I think that Gage sent mixed signals, and I think that James was being just a little bit overbearing in this situation. And we all know that Tana and James are friends, and I know that we all want to defend our friends, but sometimes it's just best to step away from the situation and allow your friends to handle their own beefs themselves, because ultimately I know that James Charles said that he did not want this guy to be talked about on his platform, and Tana just brought this guy more clout by actually sending him this message to address this situation. And Tana shares a completely different demographic from James. I do get that they probably do share some subscribers, but this may be brought to the attention of people that did not know about this situation. So in response to Gage tweeting this out, Tana actually tweeted back to him and said, "I watched you lead on and kiss my friend for a whole weekend, and when he realized you got scared and made a video lying and accusing him of being a legit, watching you lie like this and get away with it breaks my heart. He's a person too. You and I know the truth." Gage then fired back with a multi-pointed response, much like he did with James, and said, "1. I met you for 2 minutes and you ran back to artist. 2. You were literally never there besides that quick moment, and I talked to Brad, not you. 3. Show me where I said or made the accusation. 4. The clownery of you to get involved because me and James are ending it right now." So when I seen this, I was like, oh shit, the girls are fighting, so here we go. This is another video. And James quickly chimed in and said, "Ending it right now would mean that you were actually responding, let's not play more games." Gage responded to James and said, "You know I was agreeing to put an end to this bullshit because we agreed yesterday, and you and I are totally fine now, but once again, Tana had to run her mouth. Things would be so much easier for everyone if she had a muzzle on." Ugh. I just want to say, Gage, that's not cute to say that you would like to muzzle someone. That would ultimately mean that you would like them not to speak on a situation. And although I did say that I don't think that Tana should have brought light to the situation to give more clout, being that her friend did not want her to chime in, but the fact that you said that somebody should put a muzzle on her kind of is not my thing, dude. Like, grow up. James then responded to him and said, "Things would be easier if you address things in private instead of making up lies on YouTube and tweeting me instead of calling me." So if they were like working this out like behind the scenes in private, why would James snap back this way? Like, I don't understand. So I think that this is James being defensive for Tana in some way. And then Gage responded and said, "But I wasn't the first one to bring my emotions to social media," shaking my head emoji. And this is where James puts out this statement. And it's kind of lengthy, but you guys know I'm going to read it for you. So if you're here for it, it's not that long, but it is kind of lengthy. So here it is. "I will address this now and never again. That boy that I was seen with at Coachella and I talked for 5 months prior to meeting. The day before before festival day 1, he called me and told me he wanted to continue to explore his sexuality and meet in person to see what it would be like. He flew himself out and I invited him to my home with my friends and we spent the weekend together at the festival, holding hands, cuddling, sleeping in the same bed and kissing, nothing more. We had many conversations where I asked him how he was feeling and he told me that he felt very comfortable with me and my friends, that he was having the most fun weekend of his life and liked the direction we were going in, but still wasn't sure about his sexuality. Totally fine. When he left, my friends, looking out for me as friends should, told me the many red flags they noticed about him. Simple things such as him not helping clean up, the more serious thing like him only holding, kissing me when a celebrity or influencer was around. I gathered my thoughts and expressed how I was feeling and he apologized for upsetting my friends, but not for upsetting me. He then told me he had no feelings for me. In that moment, I was not upset that he didn't like me back. Rather, I was upset that I ignored red flags and wasted 5 months of my life. And also because of the timing of Coachella and everything that happened, I felt taken advantage of. I impulsively replied to a fan on Twitter who was excited about my new relationship and refuted it by calling him a con artist, which was completely wrong of me. I deleted it, but it was too late. I take full responsibility for starting this whole mess and have already apologized to this person in private. That one tweet, however, led to him making several Instagram stories, Instagram lives, tweets, Instagram story swipe ups to those tweets, and not one but 2 YouTube videos about me. He left out many details and accused me of pressuring him, which is a blatant lie, which has painted a false image of me being a I will not stand for this or take it lightly. I would never, have never, and will never pressure a guy to do anything. Everything that happened between him and I was 100% consensual. In the 5 months of talking, he never once said he was straight. If he did, I would have never continued talking to him for so long. I am well aware that you cannot change someone's sexuality. I do think he was curious, and I do think he saw an opportunity and took it. I don't think he did this with malicious intent, and I don't wish him any negativity at all. This has taught me a very valuable lesson about people I allow myself to get close to. Trust me, I know this was handled poorly. I wish more than anything I could go back in time and stop myself from tweeting, but now I have to deal with the consequences. This situation hurt me in private, but now it's hurting me publicly too. There is a lot more to the story, but there's no point in elaborating. This is my truth. I know who I am as a person, and I trust that my fans do as well. I am taking responsibility for my side of this and can only hope that the other person will as well. I am moving on now. Thank you. You guys know what I always say. I always say that if something happens, you should just address it publicly, get it out there, and get it over and done with. If James would have just took a moment to tweet something like this out when he initially tweeted about Gage being an alleged con artist, none of this would have happened. However, playing devil's advocate, that is what Gage requested, but do you really think that he would have probably not made these videos? Not me. I believe that he would still made these videos. I believe that he would have still put his story in a video with James and talked about it, because at the end of the day, this is social media, and I do feel like although this guy may have liked James in some sense at some point in time, I do think that he did see the name attached to James and James Charles and what James Charles is, and he did see an opportunity. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people will disagree with me. I know that there will be a lot of people that agree with me. I'm not stating this as fact. I'm just sitting here sharing my opinion as I read you this, so let me know what you think about that down below as well. Someone tweeted at James and then quickly made their account private after James responded to them, but they basically said, why don't you just address Tati instead of addressing this Gage kid? And James said, until Tati is ready and feels comfortable speaking to me in private, I will not speak about her in public. So that's the update that I have with that. There were a few people that actually tweeted back to James saying that this changed their opinion of the situation. Here's just one example. Maggie replied and said, upload this on Instagram too. It's a larger platform and more people can see your message. I thought you were a manipulator, but now that I see you're taking this in a healthy approach and that I read your side of the story, I see the whole situation patched together. And James replied and said, I did. So with all of this said, I think that James could have just addressed this from the jump and not had all of this happen, but it's hard to say now how all of this would have played out at that point in time. I don't know if James just didn't want to bring more attention to the situation. I don't know how he felt in that moment, but I do think that this is a valuable life lesson that James can learn going forward, that if he messes up, all he has to do is basically admit what happened, say what happened, or whatever, address the situation, apologize, or do whatever is necessary in the situation and move forward, because at the end of the day, we're all human. We all make mistakes. We all handle things differently. No one is perfect. And I think ultimately that's the big takeaway from this. Like, we can always learn something from every different situation that we've been put in. But you guys, I want to know what you think about this down below. I know this is not my regular content. You know that I usually am on camera like 99.9% of the time, but I do have family here and I'm stuck in my studio recording this, being very quiet because it's like 6:30 in the morning. I want to know what you think about all this down below. I do feel like this situation is finally coming to an end, so that means hopefully the next video that I post will not have to be James Charles related because, like, girl, I am so over this. But let me know what you think about all this down below, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.